Babygirl has to be one of my favorite movies of the year, and there's so much to talk about this movie, so many layers as well that I probably won't even get to, especially because I think there's like a lens and a feminine approach to this movie that I can't get because, of course, it's a more feminine approach to it. But there's some things that I did really latch onto this movie that I enjoyed what it was discussing. So this is the latest film starring Nicole Kidman as Romy Mathis, a very powerful CEO. You have Harris Dickinson, who is playing Samuel, who becomes Romy's intern, Antonio Banderas as Jacob Mathis, who is Romy's husband, and Sophie Wilde as Esme, who is Romy's assistant. Now, I do have a review for this movie, and if you want to go check it out, go check it out. But here, we're probably going to get into some spoiler talk because I really do think the best way to talk about this movie is to just approach it in spoiler territory. So you've been warned. Check it out still. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. It's actually ranked number 10 overall for me for 2024. So this movie basically revolves around Romy Mathis, who is this high-ranking CEO of a tech company in New York City, who's become dissatisfied not only with her sex life, I think, but with her life in general, and she is married to a theater director named Jacob. We see it from the beginning. Romy is battling with this idea that her life has become a routine, that everybody sort of bows to her in a way, and that she really can't talk about what she really wants, and that is a dominant sex life for the most part right now, right? We're in the superficial level right now. We're going to get a little deeper and try to really understand Romy Mathis as a person, because I think that's what Romy Mathis doesn't feel like. She feels like a figure. She feels almost like she isn't a person that's able to express her feelings. She has to be like a robot, automated and things like that, which I think sort of parallels to the company that she's running, this robotic automation program. And it kind of could go back into our society, how it's an automated society, right? A time when people can't genuinely be themselves because sometimes it can come off as cringy, and we see it all the time. People are so passionate about what they do, what they talk about, and all of this, and then the mass and some people would just say, you know what, that person's really cringy how they're talking right now. Like, they are so corny. Things like that get thrown around. And so I think that we become so adapted to just be automated. We know what people want to hear. We know what people are accustomed to or feel safe to, and that's what we'll do. And so I think Romy is this character that is just feeling that weight coming on her down so hard. By the time that Samuel walks in, a very nonchalant and very dominant person in her eyes, she kind of has this attraction to it because she wants that in her life. Somebody who's going to tell her like, hey, I want you to do this for me right now. I don't care what anybody thinks or you might think about it. Just try it out. And we see this with the first meeting that they have of sorts when Samuel's able to calm down that dog and he's able to get them to obey. And Romy, who has been somebody who's giving orders throughout her life as a CEO, kind of wants to obey now. She wants to sort of bend that perception of a CEO and be the powerless, not the powerful. And Samuel is able to give her that satisfaction there when they start this affair together. The allure that he can pretty much destroy her whole life and career kind of adds more to that sexual tension that they've already had with just them being attracted to one another, right? Even the test that Samuel gives to her by giving her that glass of milk in a bar kind of showcases that, hey, I got some power over you as well. But I think the very important aspect to remember is that I think Romy deep down still has that power. She is this very powerful CEO at the end of the day, and she's gonna get Samuel to do whatever she wants him to do subconsciously, which doesn't really click with Samuel. I think Samuel thinks he's in control, but throughout the movie it clearly is Romy has been in control of this relationship. She wants Samuel to dominate her, and Samuel's gonna do that. She wants Samuel to push and push further, and Samuel's gonna do that. Romy was never really powerless in this relationship, and I think we see that she does sort of start to gain a bit of attraction to Samuel more than just a sexual way, but more of a romantic, when they start to have these feelings of jealousy, especially when Samuel brings Esme around and she's just like pissed about it as well. And I don't know more if it's a romantic thing for Romy than it is for Samuel, who I think Samuel, he thought he was in control, that he had the dominating power throughout, but clearly we see that he is even more broken than we initially thought he was. And he sort of puts on a front that he's in control and he's this powerful man, but he clearly wants wants love and to be held and to be docile and to be Romy's sort of pet. And he just puts on this fake, like, I guess you could say, suit in order to be the big man who's going to tell Romy what to do. But deep down, he's yearning for what everybody is yearning as well. And that's to belong. And they're longing for this whole feeling throughout the film, which I thought was just incredibly put. By the way, I hope I'm not just rambling and all that. I don't do scripts or anything like that. I just have free conscious thoughts go out into the mic. Maybe that's bad, I don't know, but that's just how I do it, and I think that's how I'll always do it. But no, I think we see it as well once Jacob comes into the fold and he finds out about what's happening and he confronts Samuel and they get into a fight. But then Samuel has to be the one to come to aid Jacob and be there for Jacob during his panic attack. And we see that he kind of is this mending part to the relationship for Romy and Jacob after the big fight they had when Jacob finds out about the relationship and all of that. And I think that just goes more to show that there are these feelings that this couple have been repressing throughout the years, and it all comes to an explosive like moment, especially when you throw in Samuel into the fold, which causes their whole relationship to almost break. But that same break is sort of what brought it back together now and sort of made it stronger, because now Romy's able to really talk openly to Jacob about how she feels, and they're able to finally achieve Romy's first orgasm with Jacob that she never had. And of course, Samuel, he has to go another way and finds another job in another country. And I think the way that we see also Romy handle her subordinate and the way that he's talking to her at the end, like saying like, oh, I know that you hook up with people at work and stuff, let's hook up. And she just tells him to get the fuck out of here. I think that really shows that Romy has really taken in this like new persona for herself. She's now able to express herself. She doesn't have to be how society wants her to be. I think one of the big things about the movie in itself, it is that we see that Romy has been for so long just being what they want her to be, or what she thinks she should be as a CEO. And she has all these wants and she doesn't know how to ask for it because she's never been able to, or feels that she shouldn't be able to ask for these things. And that relationship with Samuel kind of brought her back to almost a primal sense where we know what we want and what we need. And if we want that, then we should just definitely be open about it and ask for it, because that is what was straining Romy's relationship with Jacob. She was so worried about his own feelings and how he would feel if she told him, let's just say, for example, during sex that he wasn't doing things right. Felt like that would tarnish their relationship. But in fact, what she was doing by withholding all of that is tarnishing the relationship regardless, and just creating a ticking time bomb, because at one point it was going to blow, because a person can only endure so much, and Romy had been enduring this for so long. It finally did blow in the form of Samuel being that bomb. But I think that what we really saw is that even though it does hurt at the beginning, to be truthful, and people are going to get hurt, you do see that they were able to go over that like hill and go on to the next chapter of their life, which I thought was a very great way to see this movie as a personal growth story for Romy. And of course, like I said at the beginning, there's more of a feminine approach to all of this, which is something I don't think I can understand, but I've been seeing a lot of amazing takes about this approach from a feminist perspective, and I think that it's really great to see. But that's just what I got from it. This is a film about personal growth. It's a film about being able to tap into yourself and not be afraid to ask for what you really want, and not really like shape yourself around the world. That's not a thing you should do. You shouldn't let the world shape you. You should be unapologetically yourself, and at the same time still be open to have these conversations and be honest about it all, because honesty is what will set you free. If you're able to just say, this is what I want, I just wasn't sure how to ask for it, but this is it. So overall, I think Babygirl is such a great film. As we saw at the end, we saw that Samuel had to leave for a job in Japan. We saw that Esme knew what was going on with Samuel and also Romy, and used this to sort of find her way up to the top more. And I think it was interesting, Esme's relationship with Romy as well, because they had always talked about how Romy is this strong individual and a really great female like empowerment hero of sorts for Esme. And she kind of felt a little way about seeing that Romy was just like other CEOs, like the whole like shtick with CEOs using their power over their subordinates to get what they want. And we saw that Esme kind of used that to her advantage there, which can't blame her for that, because of course she had been trying to find a way to move up the ladder and stuff like that, and she had been ignored throughout the film. And I think she just took herself and that power she had over Romy and said, this is my chance now. This is the only way that you get up in the world, right? You have to use the power levels and things like that had to really play the game of sorts, which that's a whole other conversation to have about Babygirl. But I just want to get over the whole thing with Romy and her personal growth from it all. And we saw at the end that Romy and Jacob can sort of mend their relationship and hopefully come out stronger from this. But I think the final scenes with Romy and Jacob having that sexual encounter when Romy's finally able to get her orgasm for the first time with Jacob, and we see her thinking about Samuel and that room they were in where she was able to pretty much achieve something higher than her orgasm than she's ever had before. And we see that she's imagining Samuel, the hotel room, as well as the dog and all of that clearly represents that she's finally sort of cracked the code of sorts, that she wants to be dominated, but at the same time, she's the one making the moves forward. But now she's able to really express that with her husband, and her marriage can continue her life that she has. She's able to bring them together, but Samuel was that sort of like need that she needed to have in order to really finally be able to break free. And I thought it was just a beautiful ending, honestly. Very great film. I hope you enjoyed my rambling on it and my thoughts on it. Free thoughts, open free thoughts. That's what we do here. Comment yours below if you saw the film in a different way, which that's okay as well. Make sure you check us out for our other videos. We have a Nosferatu ending explained. We will have a Nosferatu Count Orlok talk as well this weekend, so stay tuned for that. But as always, that's going to do it for me. I'll see all of you next time. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Let's get to 36,000 subscribers. Stay safe, stay positive.